Tom, what is the process of Nobel Prize? If he's able to do that, who nominates? Because most of the Nobel winners are on the left.
Nobel Prizes, you can go look this up, are given through an arcane nomination process, and they go into a back room and they decide who they're going to give it to. And the Nobel Peace Prize is basically a political football. You look around the world at people that have really caused peace, and you have Obama made a couple speeches as soon as he was inaugurated in 2009. Oh my goodness, we give it to for fostering an environment of peace. He didn't do anything.
What if I told you Patrick Bet-David just turned Barack Obama into his ultimate word sparring victim? No punches thrown, just verbal blows sharp enough to cut through Secret Service glass. This isn't your usual political debate. It's a full-on roast masquerading as commentary, and it's got everyone gasping. How did a businessman step into the ring and leave a two-term president reeling? Stick around. This meltdown is pure fun.
So you hear these stories, and it's becoming more and more and more. I guess here's the question. If they got a divorce, what's the big deal?
Nothing. Okay. Absolutely nothing.
So if they got a divorce and it didn't work out, Michelle's doing a podcast. I saw the numbers yesterday. Their episodes keep getting fewer and fewer views, according to.
You want me to tell you the numbers,
If you have it, yeah.
So the new podcast continues to tank. The viewership is down over 75% compared to her first episode. Her viewership has been dropping since her show on March 12th. So it went from episode 1, 335,000. Episode 2, 194,000. Episode 3, it jumped back up. Episode 5, 141. Episode 6, 63,000 views.
Can you just go to the channel, Rob? Let's see how it's doing.
So people are just not feeling it.
It's ranked 34 on Spotify.
And you know what? Why he's looking it up? It's not fair. Like, if you're in an unhappy relationship, I feel like when it comes to politics and these politicians, you have to stay together because of your public image. And it's like, bro, you're unhappy.
Patrick Bet-David built his empire by tearing apart business myths and forcing people to rethink money, power, and leadership. Now, he's turned that razor-sharp insight on someone considered untouchable, Barack Obama. The result? Imagine a heavyweight boxer in the ring with a magician, pulling back the curtain and revealing it was all smoke and mirror.
He had an opportunity, but he wasn't raised with a black American. So he don't connect with us. He don't relate to us because he's not a black American. He come from an African man who had a baby with a white woman overseas and raised by his white racist granddaddy and his loving white grandmama. He grew up without school dating white women. Like, who you date, your mama? Michelle was a political move for him.
You think so?
He would never got elected had he had a white woman. That's why Kamala couldn't get elected. Ain't nobody vote for no black woman with no white man coming from our culture.
Obama's pristine image didn't just get a dent, it got obliterated. And the shock. People still can't wrap their heads around it. For more than 10 years, he floated around like the untouchable golden boy of politics. The flawless speeches, that magnetic smile, the Hollywood-level charm. It was like watching a real-life superhero origin story unfold in one.
Like Obama's sitting like that. Where is his junk? It has to be mushed and mashed.
What you interrupted. That's what you interrupted Tom for? He's talking about his marriage?
Tom was saying something about the challenge of marriage, but listen, you know who else is like that? Gavin Newsom.
Oh, hardcore.
They sit like that. That takes
hurts.
art. That's a
hurts.
Yeah, but anyways, going back to
grown-ups here,
what
guys.
were some of the things
Another
that
guy
he
with
said?
no junk.
What did they say? What are some of the things? Not that one. If you go to the Sean Ryan picture, the Sean Ryan Newsom picture,
it's so condensed.
That's the one you want to.
Every misstep was dressed up as a noble attempt. Every scandal was tucked away under a glittering rug stitched from hope and change. Obama became the prom king who refused to let go of his crown, parading through reunions, reminding everyone, yes, I gave that epic speech, and yes, I still rock the tux. Enter Patrick Bet-David, a businessman who doesn't care about crowns, tuxes, or political nostalgia. He cares about one thing: receipts, numbers, facts, and he's perfectly happy to douse the fantasy with a splash of reality and a laugh while he's at it.
Three things hiding in plain sight here. The first that's hiding in plain sight was that Obama was nowhere in sight. He didn't come to a podium. He didn't do one of those impromptu interviews. The media that follows him around where he goes for his foundation or things he does didn't come up behind him. He didn't go on the podcast with his wife where he was talking about young men and things and needing gay friends a week ago to come back and says, I don't need any of this crap. No, nothing. Obama was...
And that's what made the takedown hit harder than usual. Politicians get criticized every day. It's just background noise. But when someone like Patrick Bet-David steps in, armed with business logic sharper than a guillotine, people take notice. Suddenly, it's not about partisan mudslinging. It's about someone pulling out the scoreboard and saying, "Look at the numbers, not the slogans." And once you see it, there's no turning back. Take the economy. Obama was sold as the savior of the middle class, the man who would steady America after the financial crisis. On the surface, it looked tidy. Markets climbed, banks were bailed out, unemployment dipped. But Patrick didn't stop at the headlines. He drilled down like an accountant staring at unbalanced books, and the cracks were glaring. Middle-class wages barely moved. Living costs soared. Average families were like hamsters running in circles just to stay put. The rich, they got richer. Wall Street thrived like weeds after a storm. Meanwhile, ordinary Americans clipped coupons, juggled 2 jobs, and prayed their car wouldn't break down. Obama became the ultimate paradox, celebrated for saving the people, while the people themselves felt increasingly...
Obama, what do you think about Obama? How much did Obama do for the black community?
Nothing.
You don't think he did a lot of good for the black community?
He didn't do nothing.
He didn't change your life positively, like...
He changed.
But he's black.
He spent 8 years. He spent 8 years giving the homosexual community all of our civil rights. We still need a little bit more. So Dr. King and them fight wasn't for integration. It wasn't really to take the Jim Crow signs down. The initial fight, and it lasted for a while. The initial fight was equal rights and equal protection under...
Patrick framed it with the brutal clarity only a businessman could deliver. If a CEO claimed success while his employees couldn't even afford lunch, would you cheer? That's exactly how he flipped the narrative. He pulled Obama's economic record out of the glossy campaign brochure and dropped it into a real-world profit and loss statement. And suddenly, the image wasn't so shiny anymore. It was like realizing your favorite high-end restaurant was serving reheated leftovers at 5-star prices. Then came foreign policy. Obama promised hope, change, and less military meddling. Remember the Nobel Peace Prize glow-up? He was practically anointed global peacemaker before even unpacking at the White House. But Patrick stripped that halo down to cold, hard numbers. Drone strikes at record highs, Middle Eastern conflicts still raging, and America's global image more fire sale than redemption arc. For a man meant to end wars, he had a talent for creating headlines full of civilian casualties. Patrick didn't need sarcasm, the irony was built in. Obama, the peace icon, expanded war strategies in ways that left even critics shaking their heads. When Patrick laid it all out, it was like pointing out that the lifeguard at the pool was busy tossing water balloons instead of saving anyone.
Could not relate to the black American struggle coming from the Nigger slave. He's not a seed of a slave. So why would he cry with us? He went and cried with his people, homosexuals.
Those are his people.
Them his people. Man, them his people.
Stop.
You saw what he... Man, listen.
You think...
Yeah, he gave them the world. Yeah, them his people. How you recognize your kind? By their actions? Homosexual got...
Of course, you can't talk about Obama without mentioning healthcare. His crown jewel, the Affordable Care Act, the policy meant to define his legacy. On paper, it sounded noble. Healthcare for all, affordability for everyone. In practice, families saw premiums soar, small businesses buried in paperwork, and affordable turned out to mean slightly less bankrupting than before. Patrick Bet-David cut through it with surgical precision. It wasn't just policy, it was the real-life impact. The average worker wasn't celebrating their new plan. They were staring at bills that read like a cruel joke. And that's where Patrick hit hardest. He wasn't mocking Obama's charisma or speeches. He was exposing the gap between perception and reality. Obama had always excelled at storytelling, making people feel inspired even while struggling. Patrick countered with cold math, numbers that didn't lie, and the effect was brutal. Suddenly, people started questioning, was Obama's success a narrative masterpiece rather than reality? The fallout was wild. Fans went ballistic. Social media split into camps. Loyalists defending the former president like he was the final boss of politics, and skeptics realizing they'd been sold by a master salesman. Charts and graphs flew like grenades, echoing Patrick's critique. Meanwhile, the middle ground quietly sipped coffee, whispering, wait, he
openly talked about the divorce, okay? That people think we're getting a divorce, and they're joking about it. And Obama said a few things. One of the things he talked about was about young men and daughters, and I don't know if this is the one or not.
I have it.
You know which one I'm talking about?
Where they talk about progressives, Democrats, and young men?
Yeah. He was talking about, it was actually it was going in the right direction of a point, and then he talks about every man needs a gay friend. I'm like, oh, you were making a very good point.
And that's why Patrick Bet-David's takedown landed so hard. It stripped Obama of his protective armor, charm. 4 years, criticism of Obama came with a predictable partisan sting, easy to dismiss. Patrick approached it differently. He wasn't a political rival or a bitter pundit. He was a businessman, a numbers guy, someone obsessed with ROI, KPIs, and balance sheets. When he applied that lens, Obama's untouchable image suddenly looked less like a legacy and more like a polished marketing campaign. That's what stung the most. Fans could debate politics endlessly, but numbers? Numbers don't lie. Facts are stubborn. It's like catching your favorite magician red-handed. Once you see it, the illusion is shattered forever. Craziest part? This moment revealed a bigger cultural shift. 4 years, Obama was practically untouchable, shielded by charisma and the weight of history. Patrick cracked that aura with a crowbar, proving that even the most polished leaders can't escape scrutiny when the numbers tell a different story. It wasn't about destroying